Joining us now, Congressman Chris Pappas, the Democratic nominee for Senate in New Hampshire. Congressman, thank you for coming back to the last word. Biddeford, Maine is not that far from New Hampshire. Are New Hampshire residents concerned about what happened? How much of an issue is ICE in New Hampshire?
Well, people are deeply concerned. How could you not find this case completely disturbing and heartbreaking? The fact that this individual, who was not the target of the operations, was gunned down through his windshield with his 3-year-old daughter on the scene. So it's incredibly heartbreaking for his family. There are deep questions that need to be answered here, and that's why there must be a full, impartial investigation to put all the facts on the table. And we have to put ICE under the microscope in Congress. We've been working to try to do this, just to try to insist on some accountability measures and ensuring that we're taking the best practices and standards from law enforcement and applying that to the federal government. But Republicans have resisted us every step of the way. I think this reporting raises serious questions about the hiring process, as ICE and Homeland Security has rushed to hire thousands of agents. We need to be continuing to insist on better standards, training, body cameras. There are 40% of offices, apparently, that haven't implemented body cameras, despite the fact that ICE is sitting on tens of billions of dollars of extra funding that's been given to them by Republicans in Congress without any strings attached. So this is all deeply concerning. This shouldn't be how things work in the United States of America. We need the law to be followed. We need justice for this family, and we need full accountability here.
Well, on the subject of ICE, but also Trump's tax cuts and Medicaid cuts and endless money for Trump's war in Iran, do people understand that in a Democratic Senate, none of that passes?
Well, I think people are connecting the dots, and we're working to do that on the campaign. This is a moment where people are feeling great pain across my state and across the country. We've got a war of choice that's incredibly reckless in Iran, that's surging gas and energy prices for families in New Hampshire. We have these tariffs that last year added $1,700 worth of extra cost to every family in my state. We've got health care cuts that are going to devastate Medicaid and hospitals and community health centers and raise premiums for everyone across the board. So people are feeling it right now. And, you know, the president and Republicans in Congress are thumbing their noses at the American people. They think they don't have to answer to the voters. Donald Trump barely brought himself to address the housing issue, didn't even sign a historic bipartisan bill that we put on his desk because he wants to rig the elections instead. So at every turn, they're about centralizing power, corrupting government. They're ignoring the will of the people of this country. And that's why we need checks and balances restored, why we're fighting to hold this tough Senate seat in New Hampshire and flip the majority in the Senate. If we do that, we've got accountability. We can put the people's agenda right on the table. And so I urge people to go to chrispappas.org, join our effort to flip the majority in the Senate. We can do it.
And it should be pointed out, Trump's approval in New Hampshire has dropped 10 points since February, before he started this war with Iran. Congressman Chris Pappas of New Hampshire, Democratic nominee for Senate in New Hampshire. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Good to be with you.